Hey everybody, it's April. Thank you so much for stopping by my channel today. I'm going to share with you my favorite dies. Koren Wiskman had tagged me on a video she did that is her Ride or Dies die selection. So basically just picking out the dies that you reach for the most when you're card making, and some of these I don't use a lot, but they are the dies that I would go to, or they are my favorite dies of that particular need. So I'm just going to get started here with my first and foremost die set that I ever bought. And when I lived in Florida, I lived very close to MFT, the brick and mortar store. So I drove over there to purchase a stitch rectangular frame die. And, oh, where is it? This one. So they did not have nesting dies back then, but they did have this Blueprints, I think it's 24. Yeah, so Blueprints 24 die set is the only thing when I went in there and asked for a stitch rectangular frame was this set. And so it's come in pretty handy. However, I don't think I've ever really used the sequins, maybe once or twice. And then there's sequins, you can make stars. You could also make confetti out of these dies as well. It comes with a journaling stitched, well, these aren't stitched in the middle, but it has a journaling cutout and it has a large banner. I have used the circle quite a bit, and this one is one that I use a lot for cutting out sentiments just because of the size and shape of it. I apologize about the glare. I don't know what's happened with my lighting in this room, but it's for some reason it's off. So anyhow, but this was the very first die set that I purchased to get a stitch rectangular frame. And then also I purchased online Simon Says Stamp, and this is their just stitch shapes. Simon Says Stamp was having a sale on all of their brand at the time, and so this was one that I picked up. I picked up some other ones at the same time. I'll show you in just a moment. But so this one is actually my favorite stitch rectangular frame. I like it better than the MFT size. For some reason, I think it's just because the dash lines are separated a little bit better, and the MFT are very, very close together. So I just like the look of this one better. It also comes with other elements within this set. I haven't really utilized those too much. I've used the tag. I'll put some videos in the iCart if I have any video tutorials or anything like I know I have on the Blueprints MFT set. I'll put those in the iCart and down in the description in case you're wanting some card inspiration or how to use especially the Blueprint set. So those are my two stitch rectangular frames, and then they of course came with different elements that I've used off and on, but mostly that's just my go-to for stitch rectangular frame dies. And then when the wonky stitch frame started to become very popular, I did some searching and I found this one by Mama Elephant. I believe it's called the Cloud 9. I'll put it in the description box below. I'll put everything in the description box below. But I liked this because, again, I didn't really feel like I needed a whole entire nesting set. I just wanted the basic A2 size front of a wonky stitch frame die. So I purchased this one, and I liked, again, that it comes with other elements. Especially the cloud. I was looking for a cloud die as well, so this worked out perfect. And I haven't really used any of the other elements yet. I like the sun, and then also you could make some raindrops, and so I just thought that was pretty neat to have other things to go with it. I like when companies do that and makes it more versatile for us. So got that one for my wonky stitch frame. And that's really about it as far as like my actual rectangular frame dies. And then I'd say basic shapes are the next go-to dies that I tend to use. So I had been looking for a scallop. I still want to buy a scallop rectangular frames, but I haven't done that yet. So here's my circle scallops, and this is by MFT. This is called Stitch Mini Scallop Circles. So I'm sure they have a larger set. So I got that one as for my scallop circles. I also have just some basic dies that I got on Amazon a long time ago, and this is just the stitched circles. the hexagon stitch and the square stitched, but I'd say the ones that I use the most, bear with me here, is up here on my desk. And it's just a whole bunch of circles. And these aren't stitched though. But I got this from Michael's or Joann's, and it's by Sizzix. So this has really been my go-to for the longest time as far as cutting out circles. So got that at Joann's or Michael's. I'm not sure which one, but it is by Sizzix. And then moving on to the category of word dies. I haven't, unfortunately, I haven't gotten a whole bunch of word dies yet, but I would say that the first one that I ever got was something like this, where you would just buy this again at Michael's and Joann's. I wasn't able to order a lot of things online when I lived in Florida, so that's why you see the majority of my stuff was initially from Michael's or Joann's, a box store. But this word die, it just cuts out the word happy. It's a Stamp&Cut by Hero Arts. They have a lot of these that they make. So I think that's really cool because, you know, you really just usually use word dies for one word, and then you'll stamp like the rest of the sentiment with something else. So that's a good idea there for you. And then MFT, every time they have like a free with 60, I try to hop on to that and grab their word dies. I really like the size and font that they use on their word dies. So MFT would probably be my next pick. And also I'm hoping to get some of the Simon Says Stamp word dies that have the shadow cut out. I would love to get a collection of those going. And while I have this set in front of me, I wanted to show you these border dies. So these are called Basic Stitched Lines. They're also by MFT, and they're not going to cut your card. They're just going to put the impression of the stitch lines into your card front. This Simon Says Stamp set that I had was supposed to have come with, it did come with one, should I say, it's just a stitched line, and I lost it probably within the first week that I bought this. So eventually, you know, I got these to replace that. So this one comes with a variety of different lines that you can put into your card, and again, it's just going to put the impression into it. So I kind of like those dies. Those are neat. And so yeah, so that's it as far as word dies. I don't have many at all, so something I need to work on. And then the other dies are things like, you know, interactive cards. Now I have the magic slider die, I have the shadow box, I have the scallop pop-up. I have all of those by Lawn Fawn, but I haven't used them. So, I mean, I think I used the shadow box die once, and so I'm not going to share those with you, but those are what I would call interactive. But I think I have probably made the most out of any kind of interactive card as a slider die. So my go-to slider set is this one by MFT. I have always reached for this one. And this one is just called Surf and Turf. It's missing a couple of things, but this is my go-to for doing slider channels. And then I got this in a Hedgehog Hollow box, and this is called Slide On Over Semicircle. So this one goes well with any little critters that might hop, bunnies, frogs, and these are more for angled slopes and, like, you know, sliding down a hill. So it's nice to have both because you have a variety of what, you know, you want your characters to do on your card as far as sliding. So yeah, that's my two go-tos for slider cards. And then I thought I would throw this in here, even though I haven't really used it that much or really at all at this point. But Jude had sent me this in the mail a while ago, and this is a balloon shaker kit. So it's really for making shakers, balloon, shaker, window, and frame. So I just thought I would share this one with you because I thought this is really cool for a specialty card, for a specialty thing that you want to make. I do also have like Lawn Fawn sets that, you know, the dies that help you to make a shaker are great because it just makes it so much easier. It cuts out the frame for you, and then you would just set that over, like this would be your background of your balloon, and then you would cut the front and set it over top after you put some acetate and little sequins in there. And this one actually gives you little star confetti. You could make your own confetti. It gives you the little balloon tail. So I thought that was pretty cool. And so shaker dies, I think, are pretty cool to have. This is the balloon shaker window end frame. So I thought I would throw that in there to share as far as, you know, interactive shakers. Now I have another couple ones that I wanted to share. These are not necessarily dies that I use all the time, but again, speaking of interactive or specialty type cards, snow globes. I love making snow globes, and the Tim Holtz really come with a lot of dies. It's just so detailed and really makes a beautiful shaker or snow globe. And then also by Tim Holtz and Sizzix is this little die set that you can make all these little embellishments, and I just think they come out wonderful. It's just, you know, he gives you so many dies. If you've ever purchased his die sets, you'll know that. But yeah, I wanted to mention these like kind of as a specialty die as well. Definitely the one. I can't wait to use this for my July series and at Christmas. And then using the snow globe. I haven't used this one yet. I think I purchased it after Christmas. So, but yeah, these are things that I think are really cool because, like, for example, you can make all these little gingerbread men and put them on little gift tags. You could do it for anything besides just a card front, you know. So, and same thing with the snow globe. You could just make a bunch of, sorry about the glare, you could make a bunch of tags with that. So, wanted to throw that in there. Now, getting into landscapes and that type of die that, you know, helps you to create your grasses and your hills and things like that. So my first one, again with the Simon Says stamp sale a long time ago, is I picked up the Stitched Landscapes, and this one is called Stitched Slopes and Hills. So that is basically what the dies are, and then it creates the slope without a stitch line, but it also gives the adjacent stitch line, so you could do either or. So that's my go-to as far as landscapes. And then also by Lawn Fawn, I have a variety of dies that are for landscapes as well. So you have, here's a little accent one. Those are pretty cool little dies for just adding accents. Again, impressing something into your card, not necessarily cutting it. This is the Ocean Waves accent. And then I have the Forest Border die. And that one's really neat because it's just going to cut out a beautiful little hillside with, you know, the forest trees and the backdrop. And this one is one of my newest dies, and this is the Little Houses Hillside Pop-Up. And this is an add-on. But with the add-ons, let me share with you here. This is your basic pop-up. This is your go-to. So this is the Stitched Hillside Pop-Up by Lawn Fawn. Now what they do, and I'm sure a lot of you are familiar, is they create, this is for the inside of your card to create a scene and pop up a little, you know, scene in the inside of the card. But they make all of these little coordinating dies that would coordinate. You can see the little latch here, that little opening. So that would be something you could hook into the back in one of these hillsides here. So that's what these are, and that's why they say they're add-ons, in case you didn't know. But so there's the basic stitched hill, and you can use this, like if you cut this out, you know, you're going to have this whole section you could just use by itself. You don't have to use it as a pop-up on the inside of your card. And most of the time, that's honestly what I wind up doing. But, you know, same thing here. You have this whole section that is by itself. So I would just cut that out and use that on my card front. And I love this one because it also has the little details that you can cut cardstock to go behind the houses to make it look as if the lights are on, and you could do that in any color. So those are probably my two favorites, especially the Forest Border and the Ocean Waves accent. And so that would be landscapes. Also with that add-on, the pop-up add-on, this is kind of my go-to for grass. I'm sorry about the glare. I have to be mindful to go and change those around and see what's happening. But anyhow, so yeah, this is the one that I use for grass, and it's called Grassy Hillside Pop-Up Add-on. So those all go together with that one die. And then also for creating scenes in general, not just the landscape, but you have die sets like this by MFT. And this one is called Spring Scene Builder. So I love these kind of dies that are going to create the entire scene for you in one go. So you can, you know, set everything up. This one comes with your basic hillside, has a fence die, it has some trees and clouds, and even has a little grass border here, which I also use that just for grass on any card. And then this one has a roadside, or you could use this as a stream. So again, that's called Spring Scene Builder, and so I really enjoy these kind of dies. Along that same line is the Bayou backdrop that came out by Lawn Fawn. This one is fairly new, so it just creates all of these vines. It gives you a die for a pond, some cattails, a little duck, and all these little dies to make extra leaves. You have some little grass accents. So really, really, these are probably my go-to favorite dies, especially this one. And then this one here is, I think it's called the Stitched Hillside Backdrop. Whoop. And so again, you know, I like these sets because it comes with other pieces, but this is great. It's going to cut that out for you right away. That it's already the size of your front of your card. And I apologize, I don't have the package for this, but this is called the Stitch Hillside Backdrop. It comes in landscape orientation or a portrait orientation. And the little accents are different in each one, but I got the landscape because I prefer to usually make my cards in landscape style. But yeah, I love this. It has this house. It has a little topper for the house, bigger trees. It has some little hearts, which are super cute. That could be the chimney smoke coming out of the house. And just really love that. So yeah, I have to get some storage packets that are bigger for these bigger sets, and also for my Hero Art sets. Every time I go to buy them, the Sizzix size or whatever, the size that fits these, are out of stock. So again, with you know, kind of just doing a quick background for your card. I thought I would share with you these. These are some of my favorites too. I'm sorry, I'm trying to get the bottom to show me the name. But so this is basically going to cut the entire panel for you. And this one is called Stitch Cloud Backdrop. So love this one. It really turns out super beautiful with the stitching detail of all the clouds. And that's just going to be super fast. You know, you can just go ahead and let's say you had the airplane, you know, little airplane figurine or something you wanted to put on here. So it would be so fast to just put a card together using a backdrop die like this. And then my other favorite one is the Quilted backdrop. And this one is really beautiful. I'm sure you've seen all of these, but yeah, so I think that is probably it for me. I know there's tons and tons of different types of dies out there, and you know, I don't have a lot. This is just what I have, and this is what I kind of gravitate towards, the type of dies that I feel like would be useful for me. And so I don't get a lot. I just get what I do take my time to actually look and see if it's something that I'm going to really be able to utilize. And even if it's something like this where I'm not going to be using it all the time, it's still what I would consider like a specialty item, something that I just want to own in my stash and have in case I need it or ever have the time to create that. So especially something like the Snowglobe dies, specialty dies for like making balloons. Of course, your interactive sliders are super helpful to make sliders. You can make sliders without it. I have done that plenty of times, but I like these because of the shapes, and it gives you that variety of, you know, really just cutting it really quickly without having to take an X-Acto blade and get this perfect arch for your frog to jump, you know. So, and then these, of course, are my favorite. I really am enjoying this. I'm going to check out Mama Elephant and see what other sets they have like that. You have your basic dies, and then like your nesting scallops or whatever shapes you want. You have some word dies, and again MFT, and then from the beginning was just my basic go-to for a stitch rectangular and stitch die. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know if you'd like to see any other videos like this, sharing like my favorites of something. Thank you again, Koren, for tagging me, and I'll talk to you guys later. Thanks so much. Bye.